TIFU, my stepfamily excluded me, so I exposed their lies, and they begged. TIFU by discovering my stepfamily has been lying to my dad about me for years, and now I'm about to blow up their entire world. I'm staring at my stepmother's phone screen right now, and my hands are literally shaking. I shouldn't be reading this. I wasn't supposed to see any of this. But holy shit, everything suddenly makes sense. Can't believe he actually bought the she's too busy with finals excuse again, faced with tears of joy. Right? Like father like daughter, both totally clueless. Just make sure he doesn't see the Hawaii pics on your Instagram until we get back. The text thread between my stepmother Janet and my stepsister Madison goes back months. Maybe years. I keep scrolling up, my stomach dropping further with each message. I'm supposed to be here picking up my charger that I left last weekend. Dad's at work, and Janet said she'd leave the door unlocked for me. I found my charger on the kitchen counter, and that's when I saw her phone sitting right next to it, screen lit up with a new message notification. I almost didn't look. Almost. Mom, do you think Dad suspects anything about Emma not being invited to the engagement party? Please. Your father is so wrapped up in work he barely notices what day it is. As long as we keep saying she's busy with college stuff, he believes it. Good. The last thing I need is his weird daughter making MY engagement about her daddy issues. My vision actually blurs for a second. Madison's engagement party was last month. A month ago, I sat in my dorm room wondering why I hadn't heard anything about it, especially since she'd been dating Trevor for 3 years and I knew it was coming eventually. When I mentioned it to Dad during our weekly call, he just said something about how I'd seemed too stressed with midterms to deal with party planning. Too stressed? I never said that. I never said anything like that. I keep scrolling, and it gets worse. Hawaii was perfect without her. Ryan actually said it felt like a real family vacation for once. I know. No awkward silences, no one walking on eggshells. Just us. Hawaii. They went to Hawaii. All of them, Dad, Janet, Madison, and my stepbrother Ryan. Our family hasn't taken a vacation together since Dad married Janet 4 years ago, and apparently they finally did. Without me. The phone buzzes in my hand with a new message, and I nearly drop it. By the way, Mom, Trevor's parents asked why Emma wasn't at the party. I told them she lives with her real family now and only visits sometimes. They seem to buy it. My real family. My mom died when I was 12. Dad is my real family. This house used to be my real family. I hear a car pulling into the driveway and my heart stops. Janet wasn't supposed to be back for an hour. I quickly scrolled back to where the messages were when I found the phone, set it down exactly where it was, grabbed my charger, and practically sprint toward the back door. But I can't leave. Not yet. Not with this information burning a hole in my brain. I duck around the side of the house and watch Janet walk in through the front door, her yoga mat slung over her shoulder, completely oblivious that her entire scheme just got exposed. 4 years. 4 years of thinking I was the problem. 4 years of wondering why I never felt like I belonged, why family events always seemed to happen when I was conveniently unavailable, why Dad started seeming more distant. It wasn't me. It was never me. They've been systematically erasing me from this family, and Dad has no idea. My phone is in my hand before I even realize I pulled it out. I'm crouched behind the garden shed like some kind of stalker, frantically typing notes into my phone about everything I just read. My fingers are moving so fast I keep making typos, but I need to get this down before I lose the exact wording. Can't believe he actually bought the she's too busy with finals excuse again. Just make sure he doesn't see the Hawaii pics on your Instagram until we get back. Your father is so wrapped up in work he barely notices what day it is. Each line I type makes me angrier. Angrier at them for lying, angrier at Dad for being so oblivious, angrier at myself for not figuring this out sooner. How many times did I make excuses for them in my head? How many times did I tell myself I was being paranoid or oversensitive? The back door opens and Janet steps onto the patio with her phone pressed to her ear. Hey Madison, it's me, she says, walking dangerously close to where I'm hiding. Did you see Trevor's mom posted about the engagement party on Facebook? She tagged our whole family but didn't mention Emma. A pause. I can hear Madison's voice but can't make out the words. No, that's perfect actually, Janet continues, settling into one of the patio chairs. Makes it look like Emma's just not really part of things, you know? Naturally. My stomach clenches. They're not just excluding me, they're making it look like I'm excluding myself. Creating a narrative where I'm the distant stepdaughter who doesn't want to be involved. Your father asked me about Christmas plans yesterday, Janet says, and my blood runs cold. I'm thinking we tell him Emma has plans with friends this year. You know how college kids are, they don't want to spend holidays with family. Christmas. They're going to steal Christmas from me too. We just need to be careful not to post too much on social media, she continues. And make sure your father doesn't talk to Emma too often. The less communication, the easier it is to control the narrative. Control the narrative. Like I'm some kind of PR problem to be managed. I hear footsteps on the gravel driveway and freeze. Through the slats in the garden shed, I can see Ryan's car pulling up. Great. Now I'm trapped back here while the whole family has their little conspiracy meeting. Oh, Ryan's here, Janet says. I'll call you back. Ryan gets out of his car and immediately walks over to his mom. He's 21, 2 years older than me, and we used to actually get along okay. Before Janet started poisoning the well, apparently. Hey Mom, is Dad going to be weird about Emma not coming to my graduation party next month, he asks. My heart stops. Ryan's graduating from his community college program next month. There's a graduation party planned. Another family milestone I'm apparently not invited to. Don't worry, Janet says, waving her hand dismissively. I'll handle your father. Emma's focusing on her studies and can't make it. He'll understand. Good. I mean, it's not that I don't like her, Ryan says, and for a split second I think he might actually defend me. But it's just easier when it's actually family, you know? Actually family. I'm 19 years old and I've just discovered that the people I've been trying so hard to please, the family I've been desperate to belong to, have spent years systematically cutting me out of my own father's life. And the worst part? It's working. Dad believes them. He actually believes I'm too busy, too stressed, too focused on my own life to want to be part of his. They're stealing my father from me, one lie at a time. My phone buzzes with a text. It's from Dad. Hey sweetheart, just wanted to check in. Janet mentioned you've been really overwhelmed with school. Don't forget to take care of yourself. Love you. The text that should make me feel loved instead makes me feel sick. Because I know exactly where he got that information. I stare at Dad's text for a long moment, my throat tight. He's being manipulated and he has no idea. The man who used to know everything about my life, my favorite movies, which subjects I struggled with, exactly how I liked my grilled cheese cut, now gets his information about me filtered through Janet's lies. I'm about to text him back when I hear Janet's voice getting closer to my hiding spot. Ryan, help me bring in the groceries. And remember, if your father asks about weekend plans, we're having a quiet family dinner. Just the 4 of us. 4. Not 5. 4. I wait until they're both inside before creeping toward the front of the house. I need to get out of here, but as I'm walking past the living room window, something makes me stop. There are photos on the mantle that weren't there last time I visited. Professional photos from what's obviously the Hawaii trip. Dad's arm around Janet on some gorgeous beach, Madison and Ryan building sandcastles, everyone looking like the perfect family unit. In the center of the display, there's a new family portrait. The 4 of them dressed in coordinating white and blue outfits, probably taken by some resort photographer. Dad looks genuinely happy in a way I haven't seen in years. It's like I never existed. My phone rings and I nearly jump out of my skin. It's my roommate Chloe. Hey, where are you? I thought you were just grabbing your charger. It's complicated, I whisper, moving away from the window. I'll explain when I get back. Emma, you sound weird. Are you okay? I'm definitely not okay, but I can't explain this over the phone while I'm still basically trespassing in their backyard. I'll be back in an hour, I tell her, hanging up before she can ask more questions. I'm halfway to my car when my phone buzzes again. This time it's a notification that makes my blood run cold. Madison has posted a new Instagram story. It's a throwback post from the engagement party. Multiple photos of her showing off her ring, surrounded by family and friends. Dad's in several of the pictures, looking proud and happy. The caption reads, still glowing from the most perfect engagement party. So grateful for family who love and support Trevor and me. Hashtag blessed, hashtag family, hashtag engagement. The comments are full of congratulations, but there's one that makes me stop breathing. Where was Emma? Haven't seen her in your family posts lately. Trevor's mom. Madison replied an hour ago, oh, she's really focused on her own life right now. You know how it is with college, different priorities, smiling face with smiling eyes. Different priorities. She made it sound like I chose not to be there. Like I'm the one pulling away from the family. I screenshot everything before I can lose my nerve. The Instagram post, the caption, the comments. I'm building evidence without even fully understanding what I plan to do with it. Another notification pops up. Ryan just posted a LinkedIn update about his upcoming graduation, thanking his amazing family for their support. The photo attached shows him with Dad, Janet, and Madison at what looks like a recent dinner celebration. They're not just excluding me from events, they're documenting a version of our family that doesn't include me. Creating a public narrative where I simply don't exist. I think about Dad seeing these posts, probably feeling proud and happy that his blended family is working out so well. Does he ever wonder why I'm not in any of the pictures? Or has Janet's constant stream of excuses made my absence seem so natural that he doesn't even notice anymore? The front door opens and I duck behind my car. Janet and Ryan emerge, still chatting casually about their plans. Don't forget, Janet says as Ryan gets into his car, family game night is Thursday. Tell Madison 7 o'clock. Family game night. We used to have those when Dad and I lived alone together. It was our tradition. Now it's their tradition, and I don't even know it exists. I sit in my car for 20 minutes after they go back inside, just staring at my phone screen. The evidence is right there, screenshots of Instagram posts, my notes about the overheard conversations, Dad's innocent text that now feels like a knife in my chest. But what am I supposed to do with any of this? The drive back to campus is a blur. I keep replaying Janet's words, control the narrative. Like my relationship with my own father is some kind of corporate damage control situation. By the time I get to my dorm, I've worked myself into a state that probably looks unhinged. Chloe takes one look at me and immediately closes her laptop. Okay, spill. What happened at your parents' house? Stepmother's house, I correct automatically, then realize how bitter I sound. And apparently I'm not welcome there anymore. Haven't been for a while, actually. I tell her everything. The phone, the texts, the overheard conversations, the Instagram posts. With each detail, Chloe's expression gets more horrified. Emma, that's actually psychotic, she says when I finish. They're gaslighting your dad and you. The worst part is it's working, I say, collapsing onto my bed. Dad completely believes them. He thinks I'm this distant, busy college student who doesn't want to be bothered with family stuff. Chloe is quiet for a minute, then picks up her phone. What's Madison's Instagram handle? I tell her, and she starts scrolling through Madison's profile with the focused intensity of a detective. Oh my god, Emma. Look at this. She shows me Madison's phone screen. It's a post from 6 months ago, a family barbecue I definitely wasn't invited to. Dad's flipping burgers in the background while Janet, Madison, and Ryan laugh around the patio table. Look at the comments, Chloe says. I scroll down and find what she's talking about. Someone named at ant_Carol_M commented, where's Emma? Miss seeing that sweet girl. Madison's reply, she's gotten really independent since starting college. Barely keeps in touch anymore, woman shrugging. My hands start shaking again. Aunt Carol is Dad's sister. She probably thinks I become some kind of ungrateful teenager who ditched the family the second I left for school. There's more, Chloe says grimly, still scrolling. Look at this Father's Day post. It's from 4 months ago. A photo of Dad opening presents, surrounded by his loving family. The caption thanks him for being the best dad and stepdad ever and mentions how blessed they are to have him. Aunt Carol commented on that one too, beautiful family. Give Emma my love. This time Janet replied, will do. She's so focused on her studies, we barely see her these days. You know how driven she is. Smiling face with smiling eyes. They're using your academic success against you, Chloe says, her voice getting angry. Making it sound like you're too good for them or something. I think about every family gathering I've missed over the past 2 years. Every time Dad casually mentioned that I seemed really busy or stressed with school. Every time I felt guilty for not being more involved, not trying harder to connect. They were making sure I couldn't try harder. My phone buzzes. It's a text from Dad. Hey honey, Janet's making your favorite lasagna tomorrow night. Want to come for dinner? Unless you're too swamped with midterms? The invitation should make me happy, but all I can see now is the careful phrasing. The built-in excuse. The way he's practically giving me permission to say no because Janet has probably spent months telling him how overwhelmed I am. Are you going to go? Chloe asks, reading over my shoulder. I don't know, I say honestly. What am I supposed to do? Sit at their dinner table pretending everything's normal while they lie to his face about me? Or, Chloe says slowly, you could tell him the truth. The truth. The word sits between us like a live grenade. He won't believe me, I say. Why would he? They've been so careful, so consistent. I'd look like a paranoid kid making up stories about her stepmother. You have proof, Emma. Screenshots. Specific quotes. Dates and times. I stare at Dad's text message. Tomorrow night. Dinner with the people who have spent years erasing me from my own family while smiling to my face. The people who are planning to steal Christmas from me next. My finger hovers over the keyboard. I could say yes to dinner. I could sit there and watch them perform their perfect family act while my dad remains completely clueless. Or I could finally stop being the victim in their little game. I stare at Dad's text for what feels like an hour before finally typing back, sure, I'll be there. What time? His response comes immediately, 6 p.m. Can't wait to see you, sweetheart. It's been too long. Too long. Because his wife has been systematically scheduling family dinners when I'm too busy to attend. You're really going? Chloe asks, watching me with concern. Yeah, but not for the reason you think. I screenshot Dad's text and add it to my growing evidence folder. I need to see how they operate. How they lie to his face while I'm sitting right there. What I don't tell Chloe is that I'm also terrified of confronting this head on. What if I'm wrong somehow? What if there's some explanation I'm missing? But even as I think it, I know that's just the gaslighting talking. You don't accidentally exclude someone from family vacations and engagement parties for years. The next day drags by in a haze of classes I can't focus on and assignments I keep reading the same paragraph over and over. By 5 p.m., I'm sitting in my car outside Dad's house, their house, working up the courage to go inside. Through the living room window, I can see them moving around, getting ready for my visit. Janet's wearing the apron Dad bought her last Christmas, the one that says, Queen of the Kitchen. She looks genuinely domestic and motherly. It hits me that she's probably actually making my favorite lasagna. She's going to feed me my comfort food while lying about me to my father's face. The front door opens before I even reach it. Dad pulls me into one of his bear hugs, and for a moment I forget everything else. This is my dad. The man who taught me to ride a bike and helped me with algebra and stayed up all night when I had pneumonia at 14. There's my college girl, he says, holding me at arm's length to look at me. You look tired. Janet was right, you have been pushing yourself too hard. My stomach clenches. It's starting already. Hi, Emma. Janet calls from the kitchen, her voice artificially bright. Perfect timing, dinner's almost ready. Ryan emerges from the living room and gives me a casual wave. Hey, sis. How's the academic grind treating you? Sis. He called me sis while planning his graduation party that I'm not invited to. We sit down to dinner and it's immediately surreal. Janet serves the lasagna with genuine enthusiasm, asking about my classes and my roommate. Dad beams with pride when I mention making Dean's List. Ryan actually seems interested when I talk about my literature professor. They're good at this. Really good. So, Dad says, cutting into his lasagna, I was thinking we should plan something fun for spring break. Maybe a family trip? My heart jumps. A family trip that includes me? Oh honey, Janet says, her voice dripping with concern, didn't Emma mention she's doing that study abroad program thing over spring break? I literally have no idea what she's talking about. What study abroad program? Janet's eyes flicker with something, panic? Before she recovers. Didn't you mention looking into those intensive language courses? I could have sworn. She trails off, looking confused. I think you might be thinking of someone else, I say carefully. I don't have any spring break plans. Well then, a family trip sounds perfect. Dad says, oblivious to the tension. Where should we go? Emma, any preferences? Before I can answer, Janet jumps in. Actually, let me check some dates first. Emma's got such a demanding schedule, we want to make sure we don't conflict with anything important. Translation, let me figure out an excuse for why Emma suddenly can't make it. Mom's right, Ryan adds. Didn't you say last week that Emma's professor assigned some huge project over break? I stare at him. We haven't talked in 3 weeks, let alone last week. And definitely not about any professor. I never said that, I tell him directly. The table goes quiet. Janet's fork pauses halfway to her mouth. Dad looks between us with confusion. Oh, Ryan says, his cheeks reddening. I must be thinking of someone else. But the damage is done. Dad's looking at Janet now with a slight frown, like he's trying to piece something together. Actually, I say, my heart pounding, I've been wondering why I keep missing family events. Madison's engagement party, Ryan's graduation planning. I let my voice trail off innocently. Janet's smile becomes strained. Well, you know how crazy your schedule gets. We never want to burden you with family obligations when you're so focused on school. But I love family obligations, I say, looking directly at Dad. I miss them. I miss being included. There's something shifting in Dad's expression. Like he's hearing something that doesn't match the story he's been told. Of course you're included, honey, he says slowly. You're always welcome. We thought you were too busy to. I'm never too busy for family, I interrupt, and my voice cracks slightly. I'm never too busy for you. The silence stretches until Janet clears her throat. Emma, sweetheart, you know we love having you here. Maybe there's just been some miscommunication. Miscommunication. Like years of deliberate exclusion is just a simple misunderstanding. My phone buzzes on the table. A text notification that I can see is from Madison, though I can't read the full message from this angle. But Janet can. Her eyes dart to my phone, and her face goes completely white. The notification sits there glowing on my phone screen, and I can see Janet's panic spreading across her face like spilled wine. Whatever Madison just texted me, Janet clearly recognizes it as a threat to their carefully constructed lies. Excuse me, I say, reaching for my phone, but Janet's hand shoots out faster than I've ever seen her move. Oh, you know what? Let's have a phone-free dinner, she says, her voice unnaturally high. Family time should be sacred, don't you think? She's actually trying to grab my phone. At my father's dinner table. In front of him. Janet, what are you doing? Dad asks, his frown deepening as he watches his wife essentially lunge across the table toward my personal property. I just think it's nice when we can all disconnect and focus on each other, she says, but her hand is still extended toward my phone like she's going to snatch it. I pick up my phone and hold it protectively against my chest. It might be important. The text preview is visible now that I'm holding it at the right angle. Mom forgot to mention Emma's not invited to. Madison's message cuts off there, but it's enough. More than enough. Emma's not invited to what? Dad asks, and his voice has gone very quiet in that way I remember from when I was little and in serious trouble. Janet's eyes dart between my phone, my face, and Dad's increasingly suspicious expression. Well, Ryan's graduation celebration is going to be very small. Just immediate family. Emma is immediate family, Dad says, his voice getting that edge I rarely hear. She's my daughter. Of course. I just meant. My phone buzzes again. Another text from Madison, and this time I can see the full message. Mom forgot to mention Emma's not invited to the graduation party. Should I call and remind her about keeping the story straight? The table goes dead silent except for the sound of Ryan choking slightly on his water. I look up from my phone to find 3 pairs of eyes staring at me with varying degrees of horror. Dad's the only one who looks confused instead of terrified. What story? He asks, looking directly at Janet. Janet's mouth opens and closes like a fish gasping for air. There's no story, David. She's been so busy, and we didn't want to pressure her. The graduation party I wasn't told about? I ask quietly. Like the engagement party I wasn't told about? Or the family vacation to Hawaii I wasn't told about? Dad's fork clatters against his plate. What vacation to Hawaii? We didn't, Janet starts, but Ryan cuts her off. Mom, just stop, he says, his face bright red. This is getting weird. Stop what? Dad's voice is getting louder. What exactly should she stop, Ryan? I unlock my phone with shaking fingers and scroll to Madison's text thread. Dad, there's something you need to see. Emma, wait, Janet says, standing up so fast her chair nearly topples over. Can we talk about this privately? There's been a misunderstanding. No, Dad says firmly, his eyes never leaving my face. Show me. Janet actually moves toward me like she's going to physically take my phone. David, Emma's obviously upset about something, but this isn't the time. It's exactly the time, Dad snaps, and Janet freezes. I've never heard him use that tone with her before. Emma, what vacation to Hawaii? I hold out my phone with Madison's latest message visible. Dad reads it, then looks up at me with an expression I can't quite identify. Show me the rest, he says quietly. My finger hovers over my message thread with Madison. Once I open this, there's no going back. No more pretending this is all some big misunderstanding. Janet sinks back into her chair, her face ashen. David, please. Let's just discuss this calmly. Emma's clearly misinterpreted some things. I misinterpreted being excluded from a family vacation? I ask, looking at her directly. I misinterpreted not being invited to my stepsister's engagement party? I misinterpreted not knowing about my stepbrother's graduation celebration? You were busy, Ryan starts weakly. With what? Dad interrupts, turning to his stepson. Busy with what, exactly? Because I talk to Emma every week, and she's never mentioned being too busy for family events. In fact, his voice gets dangerously quiet. She's been asking me why we don't do family things anymore. The silence that follows is deafening. Janet looks like she's about to be sick. Ryan is staring at his plate like it might offer an escape route. And Dad is looking at me with dawning understanding and something that might be fury. Emma, he says, his voice carefully controlled, I think you better start from the beginning. I take a shaky breath and look at Dad's face. The confusion is shifting into something darker, and I can see the exact moment he starts putting pieces together that don't fit the narrative he's been fed. 3 days ago, I went to the house to get my charger, I begin, my voice barely steady. Janet's phone was on the counter with a message from Madison visible. Emma, please, Janet whispers, but Dad holds up a hand without looking away from me. What did the message say? My throat feels like sandpaper. It said, can't believe he actually bought the she's too busy with finals excuse again with a laughing emoji. Dad goes very still. The kind of still that used to terrify me as a kid when I'd broken something expensive. There were other messages, I continue, pulling up my screenshots. About making sure you didn't see Hawaii photos on Instagram. About how you're too wrapped up in work to notice what day it is. About how I live with my real family now and only visit sometimes. I hand him my phone with trembling fingers. Dad takes it and starts scrolling through my screenshots, his face getting paler with each one. David, she's taking things out of context, Janet says desperately. You know how text messages can sound different than. Ryan actually said it felt like a real family vacation for once, Dad reads aloud from my phone. His voice is deadly quiet. No awkward silences, no one walking on eggshells. Just us. Ryan has gone completely white. Dad, I didn't mean. Just us, Dad repeats, looking up from the phone. A real family vacation. Without my daughter. It wasn't like that, Ryan says quickly. We just thought. You thought what, exactly? Dad's voice cuts through the air like a blade. You thought Emma wasn't really family? You thought I wouldn't want my own daughter on a family vacation? Janet reaches across the table toward Dad. David, please, let me explain. Don't. He pulls back from her touch like it burns. Don't touch me right now. He goes back to scrolling through my phone, and I can see his jaw getting tighter with each message he reads. When he gets to the part about Christmas plans, he actually flinches. You were going to tell me Emma had plans with friends for Christmas, he says, looking at Janet with something I've never seen in his eyes before. You were going to steal Christmas from her. We weren't stealing anything, Janet says, tears starting to form. We just thought she might be more comfortable. Comfortable where? Dad explodes, standing up so fast his chair tips backward. Where exactly would my daughter be more comfortable for Christmas than with her family? Her dorm, Ryan mumbles, not meeting Dad's eyes. Her dorm. Dad repeats the words like they taste bitter. You thought my 19-year-old daughter should spend Christmas alone in her dorm because that would be more comfortable than being with us. The silence stretches until Madison's name flashing on my phone breaks it. Dad glances at the screen, then at me. Answer it, he says. Put it on speaker. Dad, maybe we should, I start, suddenly terrified of what's about to happen. Answer the phone, Emma. My finger shakes as I swipe to accept the call and hit speaker. Emma. Madison's voice fills the dining room, artificially cheerful. I just wanted to clarify something about my text earlier. I was totally joking about the graduation party thing. You're obviously invited if you want to come, but no pressure since you're probably swamped with school stuff. The cleanup attempt is so obvious, so desperate, that it makes everything worse. Dad leans forward toward my phone. Madison, this is David. When exactly were you planning to invite Emma to Ryan's graduation party? The line goes completely silent. I can practically hear Madison's panic through the phone. Oh. Hi, David. It's not really planned yet, so. But you told your mother that Emma wasn't invited. That was the text you sent 20 minutes ago. More silence. Then a very small voice. I think there's been some miscommunication. Dad's laugh is humorless. There certainly has been. For years of miscommunication, apparently. Madison, Dad says, his voice carrying authority I haven't heard since I was a teenager caught sneaking out. I want you to come over here. Right now. I can't. I'm at Trevor's Inn. I don't care if you're at the Pope's house. You have 30 minutes to get here, or I'm driving over there myself. And trust me, you don't want me showing up at Trevor's parents' house to have this conversation. The line goes dead. Dad sets my phone down on the table with deliberate precision, like he's afraid he might throw it otherwise. David, please, Janet starts again, but he cuts her off with a look that could freeze hell. Do not say another word. Not one word until Madison gets here and I figure out exactly how deep this goes. Ryan clears his throat nervously. Dad, maybe I should go. Sit down. Dad's voice snaps like a whip. Nobody leaves this table until I understand what you've all been doing to my daughter behind my back. The next 25 minutes are the longest of my life. Dad paces around the dining room like a caged animal, occasionally stopping to reread something on my phone, his face getting darker each time. Janet sits frozen in her chair, tears streaming silently down her face. Ryan stares at his hands like they hold the secrets of the universe. I just sit there feeling like I'm watching my family implode in slow motion. When the front door opens, I actually jump. Madison walks in looking like she'd rather be anywhere else on earth, Trevor trailing behind her with the expression of someone who just realized he's walked into a minefield. Hi everyone, Madison says weakly. Trevor wanted to come for moral support. Trevor can wait in the car, Dad says without looking at him. Actually, I think Trevor should stay, Trevor says, surprising everyone. Because Madison told me some things on the drive over that I think you need to hear. My stomach drops. What else is there? Dad turns slowly to face Trevor, and I can see him trying to control his temper. What things? Trevor glances at Madison, who's gone pale as a ghost. Tell him, Mads. Tell him about the will conversation. Oh my god, I whisper, because suddenly everything clicks into place with horrible clarity. What will conversation? Dad's voice is dangerously quiet. Madison looks like she's about to throw up. It wasn't, we weren't serious. What? Will. Conversation. We talked about how things might be distributed if something happened to you, Janet says so quietly I almost don't hear her. The silence that follows is deafening. Dad stares at his wife like he's never seen her before. You discussed my will? You discussed what happens when I die? Not like that, Ryan says quickly. We wondered if Emma being away at college meant she was kind of moving on with her life. Moving on from what? From being my daughter? Trevor steps forward, looking uncomfortable but determined. Mr. Chen, they talked about it like Emma was choosing to separate herself from the family. Like she was becoming independent and might not need financial support the way the rest of them would. My blood turns to ice water. You've been pushing me out so I won't be included in Dad's will. That's not, Janet starts. That's exactly what this is, Dad says, his voice deadly calm now. You've been systematically erasing Emma from our family so that when I die, it won't seem strange that she's not provided for equally. Madison starts crying. Daddy, it wasn't like that, we just. Don't you dare call me Daddy right now, Dad snaps. Don't you dare pretend this is some innocent misunderstanding. He turns to me, and his expression breaks my heart. Emma, sweetheart, how long have you felt like you didn't belong here? 2 years, I whisper. Maybe longer. 2 years. He looks around the table at his stepfamily. 2 years of my daughter feeling unwanted in her own home while you people plotted to steal her inheritance. We never said steal, Janet protests weakly. Dad's laugh is harsh and bitter. No, you're right. Stealing would be honest. This is worse. This is making her believe she doesn't deserve it in the first place. The room explodes into chaos after Dad's words hit their mark. Janet starts sobbing openly, Ryan pushes back from the table like he's going to bolt, and Madison is hyperventilating into her hands. But Dad isn't done. Trevor, he says, his voice cutting through the noise. What else did they tell you in the car? Trevor looks absolutely miserable, but he glances at me with something like sympathy. They have a group chat. Without Emma. They call it family planning. My stomach lurches. A group chat specifically designed to exclude me. Show me, Dad demands, holding his hand out to Madison. I can't, Madison gasps between sobs. I deleted it when Emma called earlier. You deleted evidence? Dad's voice goes up an octave. You destroyed evidence of what you've been doing? It wasn't evidence. Ryan finally explodes, standing up. We're not criminals. We just wanted our family to work. By destroying mine? I find my voice for the first time in minutes, and it comes out stronger than I expected. By making my father think I don't love him anymore? Ryan's face crumbles. That's not what we wanted. Then what did you want? Dad roars. What was the endgame here? Emma graduates college and just disappears? Stops calling? Stops visiting? You thought I wouldn't notice my daughter vanishing from my life? The silence stretches until Janet speaks up in a broken whisper. We thought she'd be better off making her own family. Finding people who understand her better. I understand her perfectly. Dad slams his hand on the table, making everyone jump. She's my daughter. I've understood her for 19 years. But she's so different from us, Janet continues desperately. She's academic and serious, and we're more relaxed. We thought she'd be happier with people more like her. People more like her? Dad repeats slowly. What exactly does that mean? Janet's mouth opens and closes, and I can see her realizing she's walked into a trap of her own making. Say it, Dad demands. Say what you really mean. That's not. You mean people who aren't white, I say quietly, the pieces finally clicking together completely. You thought I'd be happier with other Asian people. Other mixed kids. People who aren't part of your perfect blonde family. The look of horror that crosses Dad's face is devastating. Janet. Tell me that's not what this is about. Of course not. Janet protests, but her voice lacks conviction. Emma, you know I don't think about you that way. Don't you? I stand up, surprised by my own boldness. Don't you have conversations about how I don't really fit in with your family photos? How it's easier when it's just you four. Trevor clears his throat uncomfortably. Actually, Madison did mention something about the Hawaii photos looking cleaner without. Shut up, Trevor. Madison hisses. But it's too late. Dad heard it, and his face has gone beyond anger into something I don't recognize. Cleaner, he repeats. The family photos look cleaner without my half-Chinese daughter in them. That's not what she meant. Janet jumps up, reaching for Dad again, but he steps away from her like she's toxic. Then what did she mean, Janet? Explain to me how family photos are cleaner without Emma. My phone starts buzzing on the table. It's Chloe calling, probably wondering why I've been gone so long. The sound cuts through the tension like a fire alarm. Answer it, Dad says grimly. Your roommate should probably come pick you up. I don't think you should stay here tonight. The words hit me like a physical blow. After everything, I'm still the one who has to leave. No, I say, surprising myself. I'm not leaving. This is my home too. The words hang in the air like a challenge. Dad stares at me, Janet stops crying mid-sob, and Ryan actually looks impressed for the first time all evening. This is my home too, I repeat, my voice getting stronger. I shouldn't have to leave because you all decided to make me uncomfortable in my own father's house. Emma's right, Dad says quietly, and relief floods through me until I see his expression. Janet, pack a bag. You, Madison, and Ryan need to find somewhere else to stay tonight. What? Janet's voice comes out as a squeak. David, you can't be serious. This is our home. Our home? Dad's laugh is cold. The home where you've been systematically erasing my daughter? The home where you planned family events specifically to exclude her? That home? We live here too. Ryan protests. You can't just kick us out. Watch me. Dad pulls out his phone. Janet, I'm calling my lawyer first thing in the morning. We need to discuss some changes. The threat lands like a bomb. Janet goes white as paper, Madison starts hyperventilating again, and even Trevor looks shocked. David, please, Janet begs, moving toward him with her hands outstretched. We can fix this. It was a misunderstanding, we can make this right. A misunderstanding that lasted 4 years? Dad's voice is ice. A misunderstanding that involved discussing my will and planning my daughter's inheritance around her absence? My phone buzzes again. This time it's a text from Chloe, emergency? You've been gone forever and you're not answering. I hold up the phone. I should tell her I'm okay. Are you? Dad asks, looking at me with concern that feels like the first genuine emotion I've seen from him in years. Okay, I think about it. Am I okay? My stepfamily just imploded spectacularly. I've discovered that people I've been trying to love have been actively working to remove me from my father's life. The woman I've been calling my stepmother for 4 years apparently thinks I make family photos look dirty. I don't know, I admit. This is a lot. Trevor, Dad says suddenly, turning to my stepsister's boyfriend. I need you to do something for me. Trevor nods nervously. Sure, Mr. Chen. I need you to be a witness. Tonight, in front of everyone here, I want to make something very clear. Dad looks around the table, his gaze settling on each person. Emma is my daughter. She is not my stepdaughter or David's kid from before. She is my child, and she has the same rights to this family and this home as anyone else in this room. David, of course she does, Janet says quickly. We never said she didn't. You said it with every action. Every excluded invitation, every lie about her being too busy, every family photo that was cleaner without her. Dad's voice rises with each word. You said it by discussing my will like she was already out of the family. Madison finally speaks up through her tears. We didn't mean for it to go this far. It just started small. What started small? I ask her directly. When did you first decide I didn't belong? She looks at her mother, then back at me. When you got into college. You were so excited about leaving, and Mom said maybe it would be easier if we gave you space to grow up. Space to grow up, or space to grow away? Both, Ryan admits quietly, and at least he has the decency to look ashamed. We thought you'd make new friends and get busy with college life and just, naturally drift away. So you helped it along, Dad says flatly. We didn't want to force you to keep pretending you wanted to be around us, Madison says defensively. You always seemed uncomfortable at family things. Because you made me uncomfortable. The words explode out of me. You think I didn't notice the inside jokes I wasn't part of? The way conversation stopped when I walked into a room? The way you'd make plans right in front of me and then act surprised when I felt left out? That's not. Yes, it is. I'm standing now, everything I've held back for years pouring out. You froze me out slowly, and when I started pulling back to protect myself, you used that as proof that I didn't want to be here. Trevor clears his throat again. There's something else, he says reluctantly. Everyone turns to stare at him. He looks like he'd rather be literally anywhere else. Madison, tell them about the college fund conversation. My blood turns to ice. What college fund conversation? Madison looks like she's going to be sick. Trevor, don't. What conversation? Dad's voice drops to a whisper. Trevor glances at Madison, then at me with genuine sympathy. They talked about convincing you that they'd already contributed too much to your college expenses. That maybe you should take out loans for your remaining years so they could help Ryan with his future plans instead. The silence that follows is absolute. Dad stares at Janet like she's a complete stranger. You wanted to cut off Emma's college funding? The fund her mother and I started when she was born? We never said cut off, Janet whispers. We just thought, since Emma's so independent and capable. You thought you'd sabotage her education too. The words hit Dad like a physical blow. I watch him process what Trevor just revealed, and I can see the exact moment he realizes how deep this betrayal goes. The college fund, he says slowly, like he's testing the words. The fund Emma's mother made me promise to protect before she died. Janet's face goes completely white. David, we never touched that money. We just discussed. You discussed stealing my dead wife's legacy to her daughter. Dad's voice is barely human now. You discussed breaking a promise I made to a dying woman. The room feels like it's shrinking. I can't breathe properly, and my hands are shaking so badly I have to sit down. That's my mom's money, I whisper. She saved that money working double shifts at the hospital so I could go to college. Emma, sweetheart, Dad says, moving toward me, but I flinch away from him. Did you know? I ask him directly. Did you know they were planning this? God, no. Emma, I would never. But you believed them about everything else. The words come out harsher than I intended. You believed I was too busy for Hawaii. Too stressed for engagement parties. Too independent to want Christmas with my family. Dad's face crumples. I trusted them to include you. I trusted my wife to treat you like her own daughter. Well, she did, I say bitterly. Just not the way you meant. My phone starts ringing again. This time it's a FaceTime call from Chloe, and she's probably panicking by now. But as I reach for it, Janet suddenly speaks up. Emma, wait. Before you talk to anyone else, you need to understand something. Her voice has changed, become sharper, more desperate. This family isn't perfect, but breaking us apart won't make you feel better. Janet, Dad starts, but she cuts him off. No, David, she needs to hear this. Emma, you're about to destroy 4 years of marriage, break up Ryan and Madison's relationship with their stepfather, and tear apart the only stable home they've ever known. Is that really what you want? The manipulation is so blatant it's almost impressive. She's trying to make me feel guilty for exposing their lies. You think this is stable? I gesture around the table. This toxic mess where everyone lies to each other constantly? We were protecting the family unit, Ryan says, and he actually sounds like he believes it. Sometimes families have to make hard choices. Hard choices like cutting out the inconvenient stepdaughter? Emma, you have to understand, Madison jumps in, her tears suddenly stopping. You were always going to be okay. You're smart, you're driven, you don't need us the way we need this family structure. There it is. The real truth finally coming out. You don't need us, Janet repeats, like it's obvious. You have your college life, your career prospects, your independence. Ryan and Madison need stability. They need a father figure. And I don't? My voice cracks. I don't need my father? You're stronger than they are, Janet continues relentlessly. You can handle being on your own. They can't. Dad makes a sound like he's been punched. Are you listening to yourself? You're talking about choosing between my children like some kind of sick Sophie's choice. I'm talking about reality, Janet snaps, her mask finally slipping completely. Emma was always going to outgrow this family. She's too ambitious, too focused on her own goals to stick around suburban family life. We just accelerated the natural process. Trevor takes a step back like he can't believe what he's hearing. Even he looks shocked by Janet's sudden honesty. The natural process, I repeat numbly. Of losing my father. Of growing up and moving on, Janet corrects. Like most college students do. My phone buzzes with a text from Chloe. I'm driving over there. Something's wrong. I stare at Chloe's text, and something inside me snaps into perfect clarity. Actually, yes. Come over. I think everyone here needs to hear some outside perspective. Emma, no, Janet says quickly, panic creeping back into her voice. This is family business. We don't need to involve outsiders. Outsiders? I laugh, and it sounds bitter even to me. Like how I've been an outsider for 4 years? That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant. I start typing back to Chloe. You know what, Janet? You're right about one thing. I am strong enough to handle the truth. But apparently none of you are. Dad's been standing frozen through this entire exchange, but now he moves toward the window overlooking the driveway. Actually, I think Emma's friend should come in. I want someone neutral to hear this conversation. David, please, Janet begs. Think about what you're doing. Once this gets out beyond our family, it stops being contained, Dad finishes. Yes, Janet, that's exactly the point. You've been controlling this narrative for years by keeping it contained. Ryan shifts uncomfortably in his seat. Dad, if Emma's friend comes over, she's going to tell everyone at college. This is going to become like campus gossip. Good, I say firmly. Maybe everyone should know what kind of people you are. Madison's eyes flash with something ugly. What kind of people we are? Emma, you're about to ruin our family over some text messages and hurt feelings. Hurt feelings? My voice goes dangerously quiet. Madison, you convinced my father that I didn't want him in my life. You stole years of relationship with him from both of us. That's not hurt feelings, that's psychological warfare. Don't be so dramatic, she snaps, and there's the real Madison I've been sensing under all the fake sweetness. You're acting like we committed some kind of crime. Identity theft, Trevor says suddenly, and everyone turns to stare at him. He shrugs, looking uncomfortable but determined. What? That's basically what they did. They stole Emma's identity as David's daughter and replaced it with this fake version who doesn't care about family. Trevor, stop helping, Madison hisses. No, I think I'm going to keep helping, he says, crossing his arms. Because this is insane, Madison. Your whole family has been gaslighting a teenager for years. We are not gaslighting anyone, Janet explodes, finally losing the last of her composure. We made reasonable assumptions about Emma's priorities and acted accordingly. You made assumptions that benefited you, Dad says coldly. Every single assumption happened to result in Emma being excluded and your children being centered. The front door opens and I hear Chloe's voice calling out. Emma? Your dad said to come in? In here, I call back, and Chloe appears in the dining room doorway. She takes one look at the tear-stained faces, overturned chairs, and general chaos and her eyes go wide. Okay, what the hell happened here? Chloe, meet my stepfamily, I say with false brightness. They've been systematically cutting me out of my father's life for 4 years and just got caught. Chloe's mouth falls open. She looks around the table, taking in Janet's guilty expression, Ryan's defensive posture, and Madison's obvious hostility. Are you serious right now? Unfortunately, yes, Dad says grimly. And apparently they think Emma should be grateful for it because she's strong enough to handle being on her own. Chloe turns to stare at Janet with undisguised disgust. You said that? To her face? It's more complicated than Emma is making it sound, Janet says weakly. Really? Because it sounds pretty simple to me. You're adults who bullied a college student out of her own family. Chloe's voice could cut glass. What part am I misunderstanding? Chloe's blunt assessment hangs in the air like a slap. I watch Janet's face cycle through emotions, shame, anger, desperation, before settling on something that looks almost calculating. You don't understand the full situation, Janet says, her voice taking on that syrupy tone she uses when she's trying to manipulate someone. Emma has always been challenging to blend with our family dynamic. Challenging how? Chloe asks, crossing her arms. She's very academic, very serious. Different interests, different personality from the rest of us. We thought she'd be happier finding her own path. Chloe looks at Janet like she's speaking a foreign language. So you helped her find it by lying to her dad about her? We never lied, Ryan jumps in defensively. We just interpreted her signals. Her signals? Chloe's voice goes up an octave. What signals? She seemed uncomfortable at family events, Madison adds, apparently deciding to gang up on me. Always on her phone, always ready to leave early. We thought she was sending a message. I feel my face getting hot. I was on my phone because you excluded me from every conversation. I left early because you made it obvious I wasn't wanted. See? Janet gestures toward me like I've just proved her point. Even now, she's angry and defensive. This is what family gatherings were like with her there. Chloe stares at Janet with pure disbelief. Lady, are you actually trying to gaslight her right now? In front of witnesses? I'm trying to explain. You're trying to rewrite history, Dad interrupts, his voice deadly quiet. Again. But Janet's not backing down anymore. Something has shifted in her demeanor, like she's decided to go all in on her version of events. David, you know I'm not wrong, she says, turning to face him fully. You've seen how Emma acts at family functions. She sits there judging us, looking down on our conversations, acting like she's too intellectual for our family. That's not, I start, but she cuts me off. You roll your eyes when we watch movies you think are stupid. You correct Ryan's grammar. You act like Madison's interests are beneath you. Janet, stop, Dad warns, but she's on a roll now. You want to know the truth? Fine. Emma has never tried to fit in with this family. She's held herself apart from day one, and when we stopped forcing interactions that made everyone uncomfortable, suddenly we're the villains. The room goes completely silent. Even Ryan and Madison look shocked by their mother's venom. Holy shit, Chloe breathes. You actually believe that? I believe in protecting my children from someone who makes them feel inadequate in their own home, Janet snaps back. Your children? Dad's voice is barely controlled fury now. What about my child? Your child made it clear she didn't want to be here. Because you froze her out. We gave her space. You lied to me about her. The shouting match escalates until Trevor suddenly stands up. Okay, everyone stop. The unexpected interruption from the quietest person in the room actually works. Everyone turns to stare at him. This is insane, he says, looking directly at Madison. Mads, I can't be part of this anymore. Your family is genuinely messed up. Madison's face goes pale. Trevor, you don't understand. I understand that you've been lying to your stepdad for years about his daughter. I understand that you talk about inheritance money like you're entitled to it. I understand that you think family photos look cleaner without certain people in them. His voice gets harder with each word. And now I understand that you're never going to admit you're wrong. Trevor, please. I need some air, he says, heading for the door. This whole family needs therapy. The front door slams behind him, leaving us in stunned silence. Madison starts crying again, but this time it sounds different. Panicked. Look what you've done, she says, whirling on me. You've ruined everything. Trevor and I were planning to get married, and now he sees who you really are, I finish quietly. And from the look on Dad's face, I think he's starting to see who they all really are too. The silence after Trevor's exit stretches until Dad's phone buzzes. He glances at it, and his expression shifts to something I can't read. That's my lawyer, he says quietly. I texted him 20 minutes ago. Janet's face goes ashen. David, it's almost 9 p.m. on a Wednesday. Why is your lawyer texting you back? Because I told him it was an emergency involving my will and potential fraud. Dad's voice is eerily calm. He's coming over. Fraud? Ryan's voice cracks. Dad, we didn't commit fraud. You discussed redirecting Emma's college fund. You systematically isolated her to effect inheritance planning. What would you call it? My phone starts buzzing incessantly. Chloe glances at it, then at me with confusion. Emma, your aunt is calling. And texting. A lot. My heart stops. Aunt Carol? She says she saw some Instagram story and needs to talk to you immediately. Janet goes completely white. What Instagram story? I grab my phone with shaking hands. There are 6 missed calls from Aunt Carol and a string of increasingly frantic texts. Emma, honey, call me right now. I just saw Madison's story, are you okay? Why are you crying in the background of her video? Emma, call me now. I'm driving over there. Your father better have a damn good explanation. My blood turns to ice. Madison, what did you post? Madison looks confused and pulls out her phone. Her face immediately drains of all color. Oh God. Oh no. I didn't mean to. She turns her phone around. On her Instagram story is a video she apparently posted 20 minutes ago, right in the middle of our confrontation. It's shaky footage of her crying, with audio of Dad shouting in the background, you discussed my will like she was already out of the family. And there, visible in the corner of the frame, is me sitting at the table looking absolutely devastated. You posted our private family crisis on social media? Dad's voice could freeze hell. I was just trying to document. I wanted Trevor to see. I didn't think about. Madison is hyperventilating now. Chloe grabs my phone and starts scrolling through the story. There's more. She posted like 6 videos. My worst nightmare is unfolding in real time. Our family implosion is now public content on Instagram, and Aunt Carol, Dad's sister, the woman who helped raise me after Mom died, just watched it all happen. Show me, Dad demands, reaching for Madison's phone. I can delete it, Madison says frantically. I can take it down right now. How many people saw it already? I ask, though I'm not sure I want to know. Chloe is still scrolling. 47 views so far. And someone screen recorded it because there's a comment that says save this before she deletes it. The room erupts in chaos again. Janet starts screaming at Madison about posting family business online. Ryan is frantically trying to damage control by commenting on the posts. Dad looks like he's about to have a stroke. And I just sit there watching my private pain become public entertainment. My phone rings again. This time it's not Aunt Carol, it's a number I don't recognize with our local area code. Don't answer that, Janet says quickly, moving toward me. But something in her tone makes me suspicious. I answer anyway. Emma? This is Rebecca Morrison, I'm a reporter with Channel 7 News. We received some concerning social media content regarding potential elder abuse and inheritance fraud. Would you be available for a comment? The phone slips from my numb fingers and clatters to the floor. A news reporter. Someone sent our family crisis to the local news. Through my phone speaker, still connected to the call, I can hear the reporter continuing, we'll be sending a crew to the address shortly. The words news crew seem to snap everyone out of their shock simultaneously. Dad moves faster than I've ever seen him, grabbing Madison's phone and my phone from the floor. Everyone listen to me very carefully, he says, his voice carrying absolute authority. No one speaks to any reporters. No one posts anything else online. And Janet, you and your children are going to fix this mess right now. David, we can't control, Janet starts. Yes, you can. He cuts her off, and there's something in his expression that makes everyone freeze. Madison, you're going to post a public apology explaining that you violated your stepsister's privacy during a family discussion. You're going to make it clear that Emma has always been welcome in this family and any suggestion otherwise was your misunderstanding. I can't post that, Madison whispers. It'll make me look terrible. You should look terrible, Chloe snaps. You are terrible. Dad continues like no one spoke. Ryan, you're going to call your graduation party friends and personally invite Emma. In front of me. Tonight. Ryan nods miserably. Okay, but Dad. Janet. Dad's voice drops to barely above a whisper. You're going to call my sister and explain exactly what you've been doing for 4 years. You're going to apologize to her and to Emma, and you're going to mean it. David, please. Or I'm calling that reporter back myself and giving her an exclusive interview about inheritance manipulation and psychological abuse. The threat lands like a physical blow. Janet actually staggers backward. My phone starts ringing again from the floor. This time it's Aunt Carol's ringtone. Dad picks it up and hands it to me. Answer it, he says gently. Tell her you're okay and that I'm handling everything. My hands shake as I swipe to answer. Aunt Carol? Emma, sweetheart, what the hell is happening over there? It's complicated. But Dad's fixing it. There's a pause, then Aunt Carol's voice gets deadly quiet. Put your father on the phone. Dad takes the phone without hesitation. Carol, it's me. I can hear her shouting through the speaker from across the room, but I can't make out the words. Dad's face gets progressively more serious as he listens. Yes, I understand. No, I had no idea. Yes, heads are going to roll. I'll call you in an hour. He hangs up and looks around the room with an expression I've never seen before. Congratulations, he says to Janet and her kids. My sister just informed me that she's been wondering for 2 years why Emma stopped visiting her. Apparently, Janet, you've been declining invitations on Emma's behalf without telling either of us. The final piece of the puzzle clicks into place, and I feel something settle in my chest. Not anger anymore, but clarity. It's over, I say quietly, standing up. All of it. I'm done pretending this was ever a real family. Emma, Janet starts, but I hold up my hand. No. You win. You wanted me gone? I'm gone. Dad, I love you, but I can't watch you choose them over me anymore. I'm not choosing anyone, Dad says firmly. Emma, I'm choosing you. I'm choosing the daughter I failed to protect. He turns to face Janet, and his expression is colder than winter. Pack your bags. All of you. You have until morning to find somewhere else to stay. David, you can't. I can, and I am. Emma, this is your home. It always has been. For the first time in 4 years, I actually believe him.